Good morning, this is Kamera again. We're on day number 148, Nehemiah chapter 10 through 11. Yesterday we read where the children of Israel, during the solemn assembly, they worshiped the Lord. They repented of their sins. Basically, they confessed their sins, the sins of their ancestors, and they recommitted themselves to the Lord. And so what they did different this time was they put this in writing. And it was sealed by certain names, and that's what we're covering today, where it was sealed by the governor Nehemiah and a few of the other Levites, priests, leaders. It goes on to tell us that there were other people outside of those leaders who also who agreed with that oath. Other people of the exiles, other Levites, other priests, other just people who agree with separating themselves from the people who served the pagans, and they swore that they curse on themselves if they failed to obey God, to obey God's regulations, His commands, His decrees, and His promises. And I mean, well, so they could receive His promises. So they wanted to just do right by God. They put some real blood and sweat and tears in this. And they even went further to say some of the things they're definitely going to stop doing. They're not going to intermarry their sons and their daughters to the pagan people, which is one of the things that God told them not to do in the beginning. They were going to honor the Sabbath day, which is no work to be done on that day, the Sabbath year, which is the seventh year. Do no work to the lands, and let the lands rest that seventh year. And so God had promises with that. If you guys follow those, He was going to bless those lands. They were going to be fruitful. They're going to be fertile. And they promised also to give their first, their tithe and their offerings to God. And the best and the first of what they were blessed with. And it goes on to remind us what those offerings, those tithes took care of, primarily to take care of the temple of God. They said they will no longer neglect the temple of God. That was one of the promises they made. And so they also, I believe in the next chapter, it talks about where certain people lived in Jerusalem. Who stayed in Jerusalem? Who stayed in some of the outer towns of Judah? And there's numbers as well. How many people and some of their positions and duties of those people. So that's basically it, guys. Covering the oath that was made, the people names who were sealed to that oath, and the promises they made that they were going to separate themselves from those pagans and to follow God's commands, His decrees, regulations. And that's basically it, guys. So that's day number 148, Nehemiah chapter 10 through 11. You have a God-filled, blessed day.